Hello guys, this is Movie Lover and welcome to this Movie Lover world. The movie opens with a gorgeous young woman called Diana. She enters her residence and starts shouting out for her husband Paolo. She finds a message from him which she holds affectionately and says that she loves Paolo too. Diana walks to the dressing mirror where various publications are displayed. Something comes to her and she takes out a notepad and starts scribbling out a letter. She addresses the letter to a famous relationship specialist. Diana explains that she has been married for 5 years to the love of her life. She has recently turned 24 and her marriage is strong. However, something has been bothering her, and she feels as though her life has settled into a pattern. Diana adds that she was comfortable with it until a few months ago. Diana and her husband had been invited to an erotic poem recital by her sister, Nadia. The poetry is so provocative that some couples begin to get intimate. Diana is standing by the rails watching as her husband is being seduced by two older women. Suddenly her attention is pulled to a Frenchman who clutches her hand. He asks whether the two can dance together and Diana accepts. As they dance, Diana raises her concerns as her husband seems to enjoy the company of those older women. The French guy donating all phones tells Diana that she should focus on herself. At that moment the dance gets more intimate, so Diana excuses herself to use the bathroom. Inside, Alphonse approaches her. The two make out for a while. They are ready to split the hormone sandwich when Paolo cries out for Diana, begging them to hurry back home. On the trip back, Diana starts mocking, albeit it's by telling him what had happened between her and Paolo. Although Paolo thinks that Diana is making up stories and compliments her imagination, Diana does not rebuke him, but plays along. The air is thick with desire and the two end up doing it in the car. Some prostitutes witness this and scoff at the irony, wondering how people demean them for their business while they get intimate in public. The next morning the couple prepares to go for work. Diana gets on a bus when a bunch of males huddles near her, taking advantage of the bumps to touch her improperly. Diana realizes this and sees how the other people are looking at her. At the following bump she slides off her position, making the men touch each other's privates. Diana and the other passengers chuckle. She stands close to a young priest, presenting her bottom to his face. The man offers her his seat, but she rejects as her stop is coming up. The man is so aroused that Diana enjoys taunting him before adding that he should quit the ministry. Diana works at a lingerie boutique with her best friend Antonietta. Despite being in a relationship, she had an affair with the lingerie business owner Sylvia. A customer comes into the store and Diana goes to serve her. She learns that the customer has multiple partners on the side. Despite being married, the client states that she never feels guilty about her escapades, as there isn't a love attachment tied to them. She is only having pleasure in a casual liaison as her husband is too busy. She also says that if Diana might be interested, she can connect her up with a service where she gets to service strangers. Diana respectfully rejects, claiming that she loves her husband and cannot betray him. After the customer leaves, Diana discusses with Antoinette about her tumultuous affair with the boss and what she will do if she gets pregnant. Antoinette says that she is not worried about that at all, as Sylvia uses her back door. That way she is naturally safe and she gets to play out her secret wish. The revelation disturbs Diana so severely that she slips off the ladder. Soon Diana's sister Nadia arrives into the store with some unpleasant news. Their aunt has passed away, and since she will be busy, Diana will have to come to Venice and represent them. Sylvia takes advantage of the occasion to hug Diana and slyly caress her bottom. At home, Diana gives her husband the awful news. Paolo is sorry that he cannot travel with her due of business, but Diana assures him that all is well. The two end up intimate after watching an explicit video. In the next scene, Diana is on a train seducing the two men in her cabin. She has a want to get taken inside her back door but lacks someone to perform it, as Paolo finds it unclean. When one man makes a move at her, Diana becomes furious with him, demonstrating that she was simply taunting the man. When she goes to Venice, she learns that her aunt has left her a penthouse. Diana is quite happy about this and begs her cousin Marco to accompany her. It comes out that the two had an affair before Diana met Paolo, and he was her first love. The two walk around the streets of Venice remembering until Marco drags Diana to a curb. The two get personal for a second before Diana stops the ministrations. She asks Marco to finish their activities at the penthouse, but Marco declines since he had told his wife that he would be returning for dinner. The two promise to meet up before Diana goes. Diana comes to the penthouse and she is happy to see that it is in immaculate shape with her aunt's stuff intact. She gets a case with some obscene images proving that her aunt was a sexually liberated woman. After investigating the mansion, she decides to reach out to Alphonse. Alphonse had advised her to phone him if she were to find herself in Venice. Alphonse, as an antique merchant, thus getting his office number is very straightforward. Alphonse is thrilled to hear from her and invites her to his house. At the door of the house, Diana notices the poet from that night exiting Alphonse as residence. She says a few sentences before alerting Diana that Alphonse is waiting inside. Alphonse and Diana do not waste any time before getting into it. Alphonse is a Sadine whose major interest is doing it through the back door. Diana agrees to this and her biggest fantasy comes true in the next scene. Diana and Paolo are viewing a nasty video that Diane's aunt has made. Diana starts telling Paolo her fantastic stories, getting Paolo very thrilled. However, Paolo discovers that Diana has a hickey on her shoulder blade. He immediately discovers that Diana's stories are not dreams but true realities. This makes him sieve with fury and jealousy until he storms off. He locks himself in the bedroom when Diana attempts chatting to him. He exits the room and sleeps on the couch, indicating that their marriage is finished. Diana tries to explain that her mind and soul are with Paolo, therefore he should not feel terrible when she has casual flings with other guys, but Paolo declares that she is a harlot. Diana visits Nadia in her female gym. She confides in her sister about her issues with Paolo. Nadia thinks that Paolo has cheated, but when she hears that it is Diana, she gets very fascinated. She argues that males frequently get envious when their partners have affairs, yet they assume that it is normal for them to have affairs. Diana is not interested in feministic moaning but wants Nadia to speak to Paolo. Hopefully Paolo would listen to her as long as she trusts him. Paolo is having a sex dream when his intercom buzzes. Nadia rushes in and gets straight to business. She reveals to Paolo that Diana is a nice and lovely woman. This little affair should not undermine the lovely thing that they have. Nadia asks Paolo whether he wants a wife as rigid as his mother was, making Paolo admit that he feels envious to think about his wife with another man. Nadia calls him over and soon seduces him. She goes on top of Paolo, explaining that she has wanted to be intimate with him for a long time. A few minutes later, Paolo tosses her off, him declaring that he only wants Diana. As a furious Nadia exits, she urges Paolo that he should quit being so simple-minded and embrace what he has without allowing cultural inhibitions confine him. Nadia decides to take Diana and Antoinette to a sex party to break loose. The party is in the middle of nowhere, yet there is a DJ in a bar. The gang is pumped and most people are partially naked. Antoinette is taken away by a woman while Nadia goes to play with an attractive younger man. Diana walks over to the bar where the bartender adds ecstasy to her drink. The high kicks in soon afterward and Diana finds herself on the dance floor. She hooks up with a young priest from the bus earlier. He genuinely quit the priesthood. After that, she heads back to the bar and has another drink with a pill. Several males approach her. She snatches a mobile phone from one of them and phones Paolo. He is outraged to hear that she is at a party and Diana taunts him by letting the men say hello to him. This is the last straw for Paolo as he decides to go back to his parents' house. After the call, Diana departs the party. This brings us back to the original scene. Diana seals her letter and sends it elsewhere. Paolo is at the beach, thinking about Diana. His subconscious reasons with him and lets him see that his love for Diana cannot be constrained by her casual flaming. He decides to take her back. Diana is at the lingerie store waiting to see if Paolo will call. After 3 calls from a man stalking her co-worker, Diana's world is devastated. Soon a client comes in. He is an elderly man wanting to acquire some clothes for his niece whom he has ties with. Sylvia senses Diana's damp mood and asks her to his office. He is ready to have sex with her when a loud beeping noise is heard. Diana recognized it as Paolo's and hurries outside. The two make up and finalize the deal at the apartment. The next morning, Diana leaves for work, delighted to be at peace with Paolo. Paolo soon finds Diana's message in the magazine. He also reads other letters. Knowing that his wife is not messed up, as sexual liberation as the current trend, and the movie finishes here. Thanks for watching. Movie Lover will meet you again with new story till take care.